so here it all is. In today's video, we are going to be going through my highlighter, bronzer, and face palette collection, and we are going to be doing a declutter. This is a part of my end of the year 2024 declutter series. If you want to see other videos similar to this, I will link them below and in the eye so that you can easily access them. Before we get started, if you wouldn't mind going down and hitting that like button, I would appreciate it, just so you don't forget at the end. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the declutter. Alrighty, so to start, we're going to start with the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate bronzer. I have shade 0.5. This is relatively new to me. I actually got this as a gift from my boyfriend. I have finished a whole other compact of this in the past, and I love this formula. I'm not the biggest fan of this up top. I wish they would make this in a single, which is why I didn't repurchase it for myself, because I don't really use the top. But this is the bronzer, and I love this formula. I just think it is so flattering, blends out so easily. It really just looks gorgeous on the skin and is so easy to use. This is a really great neutral tone if you fare to light skin. I also can use the shade it's like 1.0, whatever, shade 1, and that works great for me as well, although it is a little bit warmer. But this, I finally have been able to bust it out because I'm pale enough, so I've been using it and falling back in love with it, so it's definitely not gonna go anywhere. Next up, I have this blush from Refi, and this is like pretty new to me. I've had it for, I don't know, a month and a half right now. And I got the shade Dune, which looks intimidating in the pan, but it's actually very like light. Like it's a beautiful neutral tone, and it's able to be like sheared out, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So it shears out super beautifully, blends really easily, super easy to use. This has actually pretty quickly become a favorite in my collection. I actually had to rotate it out for a bit because it's really all I was wanting to use cream-wise. It is a beautiful formula, and I don't ever hear anyone really talk about it. The compact is also really nice. You get a great mirror. I'm in my nightgown. But yeah, I love this one, and it's definitely one I don't hear people talking about, but the formula is fabulous, so I'm gonna keep it. Next up, we have one from Gen C, and this is the shade Coconut 5. I was gifted this in friend mail, and so I was really excited to try it. The shade is a little bit deep for me, but I can usually work with that and shear stuff out, etc., etc. This, though, I just don't like the component. The product was like spluttering out really badly, and it got all over everything. If you saw that shot my stash, yeah, you saw. But anyways, this is like pretty dark, but also like when I would get it on the cheeks, it was very patchy and kind of difficult to work with. So I don't know, kind of just seems like a more effort than it's worth type of thing. So I am going to declutter this one. Next up, we have the Milani bronzer. This is the shade Spilling Tea, which I think they only have like 4 shades of this, which is crazy. I don't even understand how it's possible. Milani usually does a pretty good job, but they definitely dropped the ball on that one. Because this shade, even though I can use it really great in the summer, I definitely think is going to be a bit too warm for me when we get into those winter months. I will say this had like super polarizing reviews, and so when my friend sent this to me in friend mail as well, I was very excited to try it because I had been so curious. And I can say that I do like the formula. Like, it is good, it is easy to work with, blends out really nicely, long lasting. I have 0 complaints about the formulation, so I'm gonna hang on to this. Next up is one from Danessa Meyer's Beauty. This is in the shade Medium, and this is their Power Bronzer, which was like one of their more initial OG launches, even though I feel like no one talks about this either. My friend sent me this because she got a couple shades, and this shade, I'm a little bit deeper than her, so she thought I would be able to use this, and she was right. This definitely is able to, I got a pretty heavy swatch, but this is able to sheer out, blends out beautifully, lays really nicely on the skin, and is super long lasting. It's one that I have only played with, I would say, a handful of times, so I'm not like the most familiar with it, but it is one that I definitely want to continue getting to know because I have been impressed so far. I think though that this is another one that's going to be more of a summertime shade, so I will hang on to that so I can get to know it better. Next, my Chanel Beige bronzer. I have I think the medium shade, which is a 390 Soleil Tan Bronze. And this is the oldest bronzer in my collection. It is huge, but I do have quite a bit of progress on this. Like, I feel like, I mean, I've definitely used it. I'm gonna try to get a swatch for you here. I'm definitely not decluttering this. I really like this bronzer. Are there better out there? For sure. But I have it and I enjoy it and I want to keep using it. You can see how like sheer it applies. This is a very buildable formula, which I like about it. It is like on the warmer side though. So we'll see how this fares the beginning of the year because I am planning to rotate this into my 2025 project pan. Gosh, look at all that I've used. I just feel so proud. Anyways, I am going to rotate it into that project. So we'll see how the tone wears the beginning of the year. But yeah, I really like this bronzer and I am going to hang on to it. Next up, we'll do some of these little stick ones. I have this one from Nude Sticks. It's in the shade Bondi Bay. It is a mini. And I got it in a little set. I love this bronzer. I have completely finished up a full size and I'm making some pretty significant moves on this mini size. So I'm definitely going to be hanging on to this and I fully anticipate myself being able to finish it next year. I also have the Milk Makeup mini in the shade Baked. I really, really love this. The formula is great. The shade is a little warm, but I find that I can work really well with it, especially when I'm a little bit tanner. I do love how this like blends out, and even though it's like a little bit of a warmer tone, I really think it lays beautifully on the skin. So I am going to hang on to this, and this is another one that I will be like aiming to finish just because like I do love both of these formulations and they're smaller, so they would be easy to finish up to lower my numbers. It's kind of like my thought process. Meet my one and only powder bronzer. It's from RMS. You guys, if you have been on my channel, then you're probably ready for me to shut up about this one. But it is their Redimension Hydra Bronzer in the shade Malibu Muse. And I did have a little trouble deciding on which shade I was going to want to grab, but I had a friend that got them in PR and she was able to kind of advise me on what to get, so I grabbed this one. And I do think that it was a great choice shade-wise, especially because this formula is so easy to work with. You can sheer it out, you can build it up. It gives a really nice glow. I don't know if you guys can like see that, but I love the luminosity that it has. And I don't like powders, but this has become one of my favorites because it gives a lot of the same qualities as a cream. So I love reaching for it. So definitely hanging on to this. And then last up, we have the Kelly Ray Sun Drip Skin Boosting Peptide Serum Bronzer. Mouthful. I used this in the summer. I got this from Skeepers. And, you know, serum bronzer was like all the rage this summer. And it's only one shade. They only have one shade. LOL. They said it's like universal, but that is like very clearly not accurate. This one is very luminous, as you can see the reflex in there. It's not like glittery though or anything like that, so you don't have to be worried about that if you're looking at it. I do find that this is, You're going to apply it on sheer, or you can build it up. In no way could you build it up for a rich skin tone, but if you're someone who has like a medium complexion, I think you could build it up to where you want it to be. This is just one of those I'm not really sure about. Like, it's like, I was happy to get it because, again, serum bronzer was like the trend. Everyone was all about it. So I was very happy to have like a form of that. I just, like, it's so annoying that it's in just a pump. Like, if it had like a big doe foot, I think I would use it so much more. It's just the pumps with products like these. Like, you essentially are going to have to, you know, pump them out onto your hand before you go in with them, and it just makes it a little bit of a hassle. So I don't know about this one. I'm gonna put it in my Shop My Stash and see how I feel. This will be one that will be in my chopping block video. So at the end of my declutter series, I'm going to have a final declutter with all the products that were like on the chopping block. And I'm going to let you know if I'm deciding to keep them or let them go. And I think this is going to be a good candidate for that chopping block video. So all in all, we for sure have, what is that, 8? For sure have 8. We have 1 on the chopping block, and then we have 1 for sure declutter. I didn't get rid of a ton, but like, I'm not just decluttering to declutter. I want to get rid of stuff that I genuinely just don't enjoy or want to use. If I love all of this and want to keep it, I'm going to. So that's my vibe moving forward. All right, next up is face palettes. I'm going to just quickly touch on the Natasha Denona ones because these were featured in my eyeshadow palette declutter, just because they are technically a face palette, but they have so many more eyeshadows, and I had another face palette I really wanted to get rid of. So I featured them in that, but I also wanted to briefly showcase them here. I absolutely adore this palette. As you can tell, it is one of my most used palettes every year. It is just such a freaking workhorse. So I'm keeping that. And then I'm keeping the deep version as well. This one does not get as much use as the other one, just because like the tones in here are so much richer. But this is what I always go for when I am wanting that deep, chocolatey, rich, yummy, freaking look. So still gonna hang on to this. I do want to try and use it more next year. It got a bit neglected, but I'm gonna hang on to it for sure. Sticking with the Natasha Denona theme, I have the Berry Pop Cheek Trio, and I got this like, I think it was like more than half off on a sale that was happening on Good Morning America, because I had eyed this, but I was like, I don't know if I would use those shades, so I didn't buy it. And then they had that sale, and I was like, okay, for that I will try it. And I think that this is absolutely gorgeous. I can use all of these shades. I was a little bit worried about the highlighter, but I can use that. This is very pigmented though, so just beware of that. A little goes such a long freaking way with this shade. So it's one I kind of have to be careful with, which kind of deters me from using it. But I just think this shade in the middle is so beautiful and stunning. I use this like as a blush, or like as, like essentially that's all I can use it for, because if I top it with this, it's just too, it's too much. And like it just, because it's going to enhance that color, right? So it's just too much if I top it with that, but this is pigmented enough to hold on its own. Really, really pretty. Definitely one I should probably pull out for the holiday season, because I don't know, this is kind of like wintry vibes, but yes, gonna hang on to this. The next one is the My Dream Cheek Trio Blush and Highlighter Palette. And this one is older. As you can tell, it's much more used. This is another one that is absolutely phenomenal. I have adored this highlighter formula. Is so good, and it doesn't even feel like the one in the other cheek trio. but it is so stinking good. I just want to swatch these out for you as well. That is what that one looks like. I ran that into that just a skosh. That's why it has that little bit of pink there. But this is so stunning. That blush shade is actual perfection. I love using this one. Ooh. Next year, I definitely want to work on some pan expansion and like hitting pan in these shades. But yes, I absolutely adore this one. I highly recommend this blush formula, especially. It is just like it's a cream to powder in my opinion. So easily usable and just stunning. So yeah, I'm definitely keeping this one. Next up, I have these two from Dior. And I keep these with my highlighter collection, but they are technically face palettes. So that's why I'm including them here. This one is the shade Glitz, and then this one is the Universal one. And honestly, I love them both. I held off for so long picking these up. And now I'm like, God, why? Because they are ones that like, I could literally use these every day, whether it be a blush topper, bronzer topper, highlighter, inner corner, brow bone, eyeshadow. Like, they are truly just so multifunctional in my opinion. And I use them all the time. Like, look how like used and abused they are already looking. And like, I have not even had these for a year. I love how sparkly they are, but like they're not, I would not say they're glittery, but they are sparkly and they are so stunning on the skin. I know they're like a pretty penny, but honestly, I feel like the value is there, especially because like you get 4 in each one. And I mean, for my skin tone, I'm fair light. They're all usable. I was a bit worried about this shade here because it does look pretty deep, but I've used this as an eyeshadow, which I really loved. And then I also have used it as like a bronzer topper because if you just go in with a little bit, you can like sheer this out to be something that will go with your skin tone. It's a very flexible formula, if you will. So yeah, these aren't going anywhere. I love, 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 and adore them. Next up, we have the Smashbox Halo palettes. And I had like kind of a weird ride with these. This one was like, has some kind of top spray or something over it, and I initially did not like it because the blushes were not working. But then I had this one and it worked beautifully. So yeah, I don't know if it was just the batch I got or what. But anyways, this one is the shade Back to Cali. And it was recently in my Shop My Stash, and I used it quite a bit. I really love the tones of these blushes. I usually just mix them. The highlighters in here are beautiful and blinding. This is definitely more of like a contour shade for me. I think maybe in the winter I could pull that off as a bronzer. But again, I don't like love powder bronzers. The RMS Beauty one is definitely the exception, not the rule. So yeah, I'm going to hang on to this. This was actually a gift from my boyfriend for something sentimental, so I'll probably hang on to it no matter what anyways, just for the memories. But really like this, especially because I'm not a powder girly, but I did, you know, actively try to incorporate it more like in my my stash, and I did, so I love that. This one is in the shade Pink Saturation, I believe. Yes. And this one is a little bit more loud when it comes to the blushes, but still very wearable in my opinion. This bronzer is much cooler than the other one. And this highlighter is so pretty. I don't even think you guys will be able to see, but this has like a pink shift, like a pink champagne shift, which I personally really, really like. So this is one I feel like it's even less used, but it's so pretty and it like serves a purpose, and they do still use it. So for that reason, I am gonna hang on to both. And then lastly, we have my Makeup Forever HD Skin Face Essentials palette, and this is the shade Light Medium. And this is what it looks like here. You can probably tell I do use this. It looks kind of disgusting actually, so sorry about that. But I do really enjoy this. I think that there is so much variety here. I actually did a full in-depth review over on my IG if you want to check that out. But these formulas in here are so emollient, and they go on sheer, but they are so buildable, and I think that's what makes them so flexible over you know, different skin tones, light to medium, because of the buildability, I don't know if that's a word, of them. Really just enhances their use for others, like for more people, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I really love this and enjoy it. The only shade I don't use is this one because it's very cool toned. I don't really contour. And I think that the highlighter is left there to be more desired in general, but I love the rest and I use the rest. So I am going to hang on to it, which means I'm keeping all 9 of my face palettes. So didn't really declutter these. It kind of ended up just being a little bit of a collection tour / overview. So sorry about that, but this is what I have. And right now I'm really enjoying all of it. So I'm going to hang on to it. All right, next up is highlighters. I currently have 18, and I'm going to be real with you right now before we get into it. Just looking, I don't think that there are any that I plan to declutter or have my eye on to declutter. So do with that what you will, but we're gonna just go through them. First is this one from Iconic London. It's the Baked Highlighter in the shade Universal. And this is newer to me. Absolutely stunning. I love that embossing. And this has actually been so stinking beautiful. I love the glow. Like this, the baked formula is beautiful on this. It gives you that glow without looking like textured on the skin or like, you know, outer spacey. So I have been very pleasantly surprised with this one, and I'm going to hang on to it. I also have this one from House Labs. It is in the shade Peach Quartz, and this is beautiful. This is on the more glittery side, and oh my lord, look at her. It is like literally just so freaking pretty. Like you can see the difference in those, but this is so stunning. I was planning to get the pink one when I was in store, but when I swatched it, it felt kind of underwhelming. And then I swatched this one and I was like, oh my lord, I need my grubby little hands on that right now. And I ended up picking it up. It is beautiful. Packaging is beautiful. Great mirror. Love this one. Definitely staying. Next up, I have this one from Trixie Cosmetics, and this one is newer to me. It's the shade Cold Shoulder. It was a part of her holiday launch this year, and I've only used it one time. It's very new to my collection, and do you see that? She put that on her face in her video, and I was like, how am I supposed to not get that? Like, it looks so glittery and beautiful on the skin, and it didn't look like, it looks silvery in the swatch, but it really didn't look super silvery on my cheek because the brush, the way it dispersed it, just gave a very glittered effect. So yeah, definitely hanging on to this. Next up, I have the Lethal Cosmetics Avatar collection, and this was the White Lotus pressed highlighter. They had General Iro on the front, and this is what it looks like on the inside. I do wish the embossing would have been more pronounced in here like it was in the Iconic London one, but you know. And this, yeah, you see that shift? This shade is so beautiful, but like, do you see how chunky that is? I just think their forte is not highlighters. When I get it all blended out and stuff like that, absolutely stunning. but it's one that is more difficult to work with because it does get so like chunky. And I had thought about decluttering it, if I'm being honest, because I was like, God, I just don't know if I will reach for that knowing how it like applies and performs and whatnot. But I don't know. I think because it was a part of the Avatar collection, I want to hold on to it a little bit longer and continue to try it out. Just because, like, it is stunning. It just, I don't know. It's just a little bit chunky and it picks up a lot on the brush. So I want to try this out more before I make a decision to hang on to it or not. And I just haven't played with it enough because after the first 2 times, it kind of deterred me. But I really need to like get back into it and see where I stand with it. So let's put this one on the chopping block. Let's do that. Chopping block. Next up, I have one from Clionadh Cosmetics, and this was from their like fruit line, and this is the bitter shade. And these are so cute. Like, you already see that shit. Like, oh, so pretty, you guys. Like, look at that. I haven't used this since like the summer, and now I'm like, oh my God, why? So I'm gonna have to pull this out in my next Shop My Stash. Reminded me, you guys. This is definitely not going anywhere. This was like so much smaller than I anticipated, though. I was expecting it to be like a bigger pan, but like, look at that. It's a little baby. But that's fine. It works great. Does its purpose. So stunning. Oh, the fruit lighters. There we go. I'm definitely hanging on to this. Next up, I have 2 of the Natasha Denona High Glam, or no, High Gen highlighters. And I talked about these in my best of 2024. I have 2 shades. I have 2, and then I have shade 1. And I've shared like swatches and whatnot before. So I'm just going to do like a quick finger swatch. But yeah, this is 1. It'll focus. 1. And then this is 2. So very different. This one pulls a little more icy. This one does look like too deep and golden. But like once you get it blended out, it's not too deep for me. So I don't know. I just wanted to let you know in case you were eyeing them. But I think that this formula got so overlooked, and it's so crazy to me because it got a lot of hype when it was initially launching, and then people just kind of stopped talking about them. And I picked them up a while after they launched. I went in the store and swatched them, and I was like, oh my God, so good. So these are my like top of this year. They're absolutely beautiful. They are just like intense, lit from within, gorgeous on the skin. Highly recommend, which means I'm not decluttering them. Next up, I have 2 diamond balms from Fenty. I have number 2, which is Rose Rave. And then I have the original, which is How Many Carats. And I just wanted to let you guys know, like, these are not the same formula. Not even close. I picked up this because I thought it would be how this is. You know, this is like so insanely sparkly, gorgeous, wet, all the things, like fucking beautiful. This is not that. It is a more like it, okay, it looks like that in the swatch. It's betraying me. It looks like it's something in the swatch. But you guys, once I get it on my cheek, see, look, okay. The Diamond Balm, the Rose one. You see how much more lackluster this one is? It just doesn't have the same amount of like sparkle and pizzazz and like glitter. So it really let me down. And it's one where I'm like, do I declutter it? You know, like I'm definitely not decluttering this one. This one's stunning. But this one is like, but it's also one of my only like more pinky highlights. I mean, I have this one, the Dior palette that is like pink, but it doesn't even like show up like super pink on the face like it does in the swatch, but it is more pink than the other. And then one of these, Prosecco, pretty. Sorry, I'm like gonna go through them now. This is like the more pink toned one, but it's still not like, definitely much more pink and impactful than the other. Okay, this one is also gonna go on the chopping block, I think. So we'll set that over here. Since I already have this open, these are the Fenty Demi Glow, and they were limited edition, which I think is just crazy because I felt like they did, so well. But I have the shade 1, 2, and 3. So that's exciting. These aren't going to go anywhere, but I just thought I would swatch them out for you in case you were curious. 1, 2, and 3. So there's a nice gradient there. This one I was worried would be too dark, and I think it's definitely more flattering on me in the summer because it does run a little bit deeper. But overall, I like these. I will say though, if you have any like peach fuzz or anything like that on your face, these do tend to cling to that. So I think that they perform best with like a, you know, clean shaven face. That's just my experience though. I really loved the packaging on these as well. I have heard they're very fragile. Mine have not broken, thank God. I'm very extra careful with them though because I have seen a lot of people's break. But I am going to hang on to these. Next up are the What's Up Beauty Serengeti highlighters. I have both of them. This one's Wild Acacia, if I'm saying that right, and then Sunset or Safari Sunset. And this one is the lighter one. This one is the darker one. As you can see, we have that pink and then that icier color. And then we have the pink and the more gold color. I have not used these a lot. I actually just rotated them into my Shop My Stash because I wanted to get a better idea of the formula and the colors. Because, right, like this is the lighter one. This is the darker one. I'm trying to... And honestly, I feel like that deep one might be too deep for me. I mean, this one's a little bit icier than my preference, but I could still use it is the difference. I think that that Sunset one might be too dark, you guys. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to keep this for sure, and I'm going to put this one on the chopping block. I want to see if the shade is actually flattering to my skin tone or not. So chopping block. Next up, I have this one from Refi. Oh, I'm going to do that last because it's holding the rest. I have this one from Merit. It is their highlighter stick. I have the shade Cava. I recently got this. I really like it. I love to apply it with just a brush. Gives a very nice, pretty glow. So I'm keeping this. I also have this one from Nude Sticks that I was like kind of worried would be. It came in that set. I was worried it would be too deep for me. But I think I can like... When it's blended out like that, like I think it could possibly be fine. So I'm going to hang on to it for now. And my plan is to depot it in my like traveling face palette, if you will. So, and then if it's not working for me in there, I will just cut her loose. But for now, I'm going to keep it. And then this iconic London rollaway roller ball in Champagne Chic is just stunning. It is stunning. It gives, like, look at that. Look at it. Like, literally. And I just put my brush on it like that. And then I go in on my cheek and I blend it out. And it is, like, the most wet looking glow on my cheek ever. Like, this is insanely beautiful. Actually, I might rotate this into my stash next time because I want to use this. So pretty. And then lastly is this one from Rafi. And it's in the shade Topaz, which I had this in my stash last time. And it's like a gloss, so it's kind of like sticky, but it dries down. I was mostly worried about the shade because it is bronzier, but I felt like it worked fine. It's another one that I'm just like, I don't really know, because I have to put it on my hand and blend it out on my hand and then go in with it. Otherwise, it is way too dark on my skin. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do with this. Okay. I think this will be another one on the chopping block, I think. Because I don't want to, like, cut it loose too soon, but I definitely feel unsure. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm going to put this on the chopping block. Okay, so we're going to have these 4 highlighters on the chopping block. I'm actually going to put them in my basket now so that I remember to work on them and test them out and try to get my thoughts for the final declutter video, which means we only made one declutter in this video, which was the Gen C bronzer. Everything else stayed. But I have 5 products on the chopping block, so we'll see what ends up happening with those at the end of the year. Sorry this wasn't super declutter heavy, but like I said, if I love it, like, I'm not getting rid of it just to get rid of it. And I hope this inspires you to go through your collection, see what you have, see what you're loving. I've definitely been inspired to use some of the products that I have not used in a while, which is always really nice. But yeah. Thank you guys so much again for watching and hanging out. I will link the other videos below, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up before you go. And I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye!